Welcome to Driven, the Unscripted Success podcast, with your hosts, Mike Menino and Nariman Hamden, bringing you insights and stories on achieving personal, professional, and financial success.
Hi, everybody. This is Michael Menino. Welcome to Driven Unscripted Success podcast. Today on the podcast, we're interviewing professionals who share their experience with you, the audience, and how they got to where they're at today. And zooming from the beautiful island of Corpus Christi is Matt Teifke.
Teifke.
Teifke. I'm sorry, I mispronounced it. Matt Teifke. Hi, Matt. How you doing?
I'm great. I'm glad to be here. Thank you for making some time and excited to get after it today.
Awesome. Thank you very much for showing up. I really do appreciate your time and sharing your experience with the world. That's kind of what we love about this podcast is you get successful people and find out what makes them tick. And we're seeing a lot of clues. A lot of them do the same thing in different ways. So we're going to try and dig into your ways and see how they work out. Do me a quick favor. Tell everybody about yourself, where you're at, how you got to where you're at, what you do.
Yeah, I'm Matthew Teifke, 34 years old, married with 2 kids, and been in real estate since I was 18. Started as a real estate 18. Yeah,
How did you get in at 18?
My mom was a single mom and raised my brother and myself. And by the time I was 17 years old, she had 16 or 17 houses. And she literally started cleaning houses and then she started buying them. So she was a hustler of hustlers, as one could maybe imagine, raising 2 boys, working a full-time job and doing all that. And so that was inspiring, and it proved to me that anything's possible. And I haven't ever really found someone that's got a good excuse on why they can't do something, especially in the United States of America, the land of opportunity. And, she made it happen. And I got my license when I was 18 in college and just grinded, man. I was always motivated to own and to buy properties, and went from an agent to buying my first house to leasing apartment complexes. I started a management company. We sold that a few years ago. I went and got my master's degree in real estate from Texas A&M University. I worked at a commercial brokerage for 4 years, downtown Austin, doing like retail tenant rep and wining and dining clients, dressing like a banker, waiting 2 years to make these commissions, all that kind of stuff. And then 2020, I branched off and started my own real estate company. And now we're syndicating and buying apartment complexes. I bought for the first 10 to 12 years of my career, house, duplex, mobile home park, RV park, laundromat, and had this wide variety of assets. And then within the last 2 years, really got dialed in on looking for motivated sellers. I've always been looking for that, but specifically multifamily with floating debt or balloon payments due. And we're stealing these deals. We were patient. We're buying these properties for less than they paid 4 years ago. And we're able to get some really good returns, and as motivated and locked in as anyone in the business. I mean, we've got a capital raise that we're doing right now, and I probably won't sleep for the next 60 days. And it's a grind, man. Like it's, one relationship could be the difference between us closing the deal or not. And thank God we've always been able to do it, but you just never know. So we're trying to do things the right way. I've got 2 partners. Both of them are like my best friends growing up, and just excited to be in the market, man, and excited to be here as well, and happy to dive into as much as that as we want to, or just bring value to people.
Awesome. Thank you very much. I know in what you do, there's a lot of competition. What do you do differently in your space? Because you're doing a good job right now. Capital raising seems to be the hard part, and you just did $11 million in last year. Yeah, that's amazing. So how did you do that? What sets you apart from most people?
Yeah. One thing on the competition that I'm noticing, and we're seeing different dynamics to different markets, but San Antonio, for example, where we're really locked in, there is not really that much competition. A lot of the people that would be the competition in theory are barely hanging on to their deals. So they're not buying new deals. They're just trying to figure out how to sustain their current deals.
Wow, that's kind of hard right now because if they bought them in the last 2, 3 years with interest rates at 3%, now they're at 7%. It's a big difference.
That's what I'm saying. That's my point is that if that's what they're going through, then they're not actually competition on buying new deals, right? So there's not a ton of buyers in our markets that we're at. I've also known the brokers. I mean, when I was 10 years ago, when I was buying houses, I was taking these brokers out to coffee or lunch and trying to get with the top ones, right? And I would say, hey, I want to buy. Let me get on your list. And they probably knew that I wasn't fully capable at the time, but I've stayed in touch with them and they've seen my journey and what we've done. And now they're looking at us as the buyer, right? So a lot of this business, and I've been doing it for 16 years, you've been doing it longer. There's always something to learn. But what I'm really seeing now is the strategy and what you do is very dependent on where we're at in the cycle. I mean, when I started in 2012 up until the last couple of years, the market was always hot. It was always good. And so as much as I'm somewhat of an expert in the space and I have more experience than most people, I still hadn't gone through any downturn, which is a significant change, right? And so looking back, like, yeah, I knew prices were crazy, and that's why we weren't really buying these big deals. I should have sold a lot of my houses and other properties. But now it's like, what's the opportunity in the market? And it's to find these sellers that have to sell. And I just don't know anybody that bought or was aggressive or growing in the last few years is not in a really, really bad spot. And so there's not a bunch of people that are capable of it and want to do this that are not in that position. So getting plugged in with these brokers and right place at the right time, right? Like when you're raising capital, it's a grind. You got to have a good deal. You got to have a good team, but you also got to find the person that's looking at that time, right? They might be the perfect investor for you, but they might have just invested or committed to something else. But then being plugged in with these brokers, for example, on these properties we're buying in San Antonio, it's one of these owners that I'm talking about. And we got a contract already worked out where he's like, hey, you close this deal, I'll give you the next one. Let's use the same contract. Let's change the address. And he's looking at us as the buyer, even though we might be paying a little less than somebody else. We're proving to him that we're closing. And so we've got this unique opportunity to, I mean, really, truly, TR3 and my two partners, we could become one of the larger multifamily owners in San Antonio within 18 months. But as you know, Michael, there's no secret to it. I mean, this is a grind. Like, I talk to hundreds of people every single day. I've gone to 8 conferences this year, been away from my family, and it ain't easy, man. But I do believe that now is one of the best times that I will personally ever have to be acquiring and to be locked in. And I think if we're right and the market turns and rates drop, who knows when, but 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, these properties that we're getting now are going to be ones that I would have never been able to get if I don't get them now.
Good point. Very good point. I know exactly what you're talking about. And, I keep telling everybody goes, what's the most important thing about real estate? And they say location, 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 which is not wrong. But what I've tried to teach people, the next step or the next iteration is the most important is when you buy. When you buy, where you buy is more important than
Yeah.
like you just said, does it really matter where you bought in the last 2 years if interest rates were at 3% and you have a 3-year bridge loan? It doesn't matter because interest rates went up so much in the last 2 years' time. Like what's the name? Dr. Strange. Time stone is one of the most powerful tools. When you buy is more important than what you buy and where
Yes.
you buy it. So
Time,
yeah,
location, 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 timing, timing, timing.
timing. There you go. I like that. I'm gonna location, 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 time, time, time. That's a good one. Uh, that's a good one. I like that, Matt. That's a real good one. Location, location, time, time, time.
Yeah.
And you started at the right time, 2012. That's when everything started kicking up. So your timing was perfect. Love it. So if someone listening to us now wants to get better at what you do, what would you suggest to them? What's your tips and tricks?
One of the things that I find a little bit unique in what I do is I'm big on people connecting, staying in touch. Like this, I'm going out on podcasts, reaching out to you and try to stay in touch. And for me, it's also kind of a godly thing to do. I mean, I talk to everybody and I try to help everybody. And I mean, I was looking last night on my, I mean, I was reaching out. I've been always trying to reach out to whoever's the best in the business. I've been trying to reach out to them. I remember when I was in college, I called Warren Buffett's office. I called Donald Trump's office. Like I'm 17 and I'm like literally just trying to talk to him. And then I was looking at Facebook last night, one of my messages, and there was a guy that I've been trying to get a hold of, and I'm persistent, man. Like I'll send 50 messages. If someone tells me to stop, I will. But I'm just like trying to check in, trying to buy someone lunch, trying to buy them coffee. And one of the guys that I was messaging like 8, 9, 10 times, he's losing all of his properties that he has right now. And I'm not really judging him or anything like that. But what I am saying is like, that would never be me. Like if someone's trying to get a hold of me, I'm going to respond to them, whether they're in high school or whatever they are. And the people aspect of this business is a big component and caring about people and being willing to help. And I just feel like, I mean, we all learned a lot of lessons, but when things were hot and crazy, like people just felt like they were too good for people and they weren't responding and they didn't have time for them. And now come full circle, they probably need some help. So I think one of the things to really point out is like just be somebody who wants to help other people and add value. Like I'm from the mindset, I haven't thought of the best term yet, but like reckless, reckless adding value. Like I'm giving, like Michael, if you wanted anything in my phone book, I'd give it to you. Any investor, any contact, versus thinking these are my investors or, these are things that I don't want to share. One, people recognize that and they respect it. But two, you're planting seeds of real value. And I don't think a lot of people in this business approach real estate like that. So as
A
much as
lot of people have sorry to interrupt, but a lot of people have a scarcity mindset. They really do, and they don't want to share their resources. I'm just like you. I share all my resources.
yeah, and even at almost to a fault in some sense, like, hey, I'm giving you this connection, and maybe they're not going to invest in my deal, but it's just a good thing and it's different, and people notice that. So that's one of the big ones. And then some people I've seen like they get in different groups, which I think groups are great, but they make that like these paid communities and stuff, and they make that the only world that they live in. And it's like, man,
Yeah,
there is so much going on out here. And
yeah. I got blinders on.
yeah. And so this is business is not a pay for a community, all these people raise money for each other and that's it. That's not the right way to do it. So it's I don't maybe you have a good term for it, but just the abandonment of holding on to things for yourself and just adding massive value and planting seeds and staying in touch and just being somebody who's going to be around. Like I'm going to be doing this, Lord willing, 30 years from now, 50 years from now, and
Mhm.
there's a lot of people that are just these fly by nights and they're in and they're out and they're operating a certain way and you can just see them like when they come on so hard and operating a certain way, then they disappear. And so, not to be one of those people, because this is not like, as you know too, it's like, I mean, we could very well buy $150 million of real estate this year. And by no means does that one mean that I'm going to be so independently wealthy that I never have to do anything again. And so, like, just on a practical standpoint, like, you got to have longevity in this space. And you gotta have good people and good partners so we can keep doing deals or we can sell those deals later, whatever it may be. But there's no buy this deal or buy that deal and you're done. It doesn't even exist. And I think some people just get in so hard and they're looking for that, and then they mess up the entire big picture of it all.
Right. Right. I agree with you wholeheartedly. The grind is the grind. And I so I'm gonna say something personally, and I think you're gonna agree with me. What I see a lot in the last 5 years is all these young people that, oh, I'm buying deals, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. And I'm like, oh, I've been doing it for 38 years. I've seen those guys come and go daily, daily. And I just feel bad that the people that hook up with them and don't realize that, someone that's been in the space for years, decades, is probably a little more safe than someone that can summit and say, I can give you 24% interest on your money in the first 5 years. And you know better than anybody that's kind of hard to do. So what do you say to those people that, the newbies that you've seen that are, dare I say the word reckless?
Yeah.
Dare I say the word reckless?
I mean, I think part of it also and I'm standing up, I'll stand up for them in a sense, not
Okay.
necessarily those actions, but I have no dog in this fight because I'm not sitting on bad deals, but
Right.
it's very easy for some of these LPs to say certain things. I'm not I'm track. I agree with you, by the way, but certain LPs and they're blaming these syndicators and this and that, and rightfully so in some sense, depending on what they've done. But it's like, hey, Mr. Investor. Did you look at the deal? Did you ask the right questions? Did you go to the property? Did you vet out the operator? Because that's just as much on you, unless the GP's sitting here, when they have whenever they have a certain return shown, and they're saying that they're getting a 2% interest when really they're getting a 4, and they're lying about it. But I don't think
That's fraud, though. That's fraud. That's fraud. When they say one thing and they know it's not true, that's fraud.
right.
And there's a
Well,
lot of people that are getting punished for that right now.
that's what I'm saying is like that's one thing.
Right.
But what I'm saying is if they did a deal in 2021 and they said, "Hey, we're getting this for 4% interest and we're projecting, 5% rent growth for the next 10 years," and they told you that and you looked at that and you agreed with that, that's on you too, man. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Like,
Hmm.
like the investors also invested, and I'm blaming. Really, what I'm doing is I'm blaming them as much as the syndicator because I was frustrated about it as much as anybody. I'm like, how's everybody doing this? And it wasn't just the syndicators; it was the money that was being thrown at them that made it so easy to close these deals. And
Yes.
the money
Yes.
was just
Yes.
as reckless as the syndicator.
Yeah. Yeah. I see what you're saying. You're going to add a little bit of blame to the LPs that just threw their money out for no reason. I get that. But most of those people don't have time to do the underwriting or understanding what the value of the property. I mean, that's a lot of work too. So,
It
I,
is, they're still investing, right? Like
yes.
that's not an excuse. I mean, I've lost money myself, and could I blame the people that I lost money on? Sure, but I should actually just blame myself.
Yeah. I agree with you. Like one of my, not even constituents, one of the people that I would consider a mentor, friend of mine, told me about a deal. And, and she goes, "Hey, we're doing this deal." I don't want to say who it was. "We're doing this deal in Evansville, Indiana." And I just went, "Jam out." She goes, "Why?" I go, "I'm not interested in that area. I know about the area, I know about it well. It's not a great demographic. It's nothing I want to deal with it." And then a year and a half later, she calls me up and says, "We took over the property from the sponsor."
Right.
Ugh, sorry.
Well, but if you're going to invest, right, like you really should go to the property.
So what we do is we go to the property, we check it out, we vet it out, and then we put our money in and tell people, if we're putting our money in, you can put your money in. And I don't recommend deals that I don't put my money in. I make sure they're vetted out. And a good syndicator would probably, and you still have to show everybody all the information
Right.
truthfully,
Totally.
right? And then let everybody make the decisions.
Yeah. I mean, so we're buying a deal right now. So when you do speak about those returns, I mean, they are possible. Like I'm taking over a deal right now. It's 39 million, it's 39 million purchase price, and we're assuming 4.3% debt for 6 years amortized.
Now that's good.
We're buying it at a 6.7 cap rate, and we're
Now,
acquiring
can we explain to people what that is? So you're buying it at a 4 point what?
3.4.
4.34 debt. So your debt on the property is 4.34. So, and the cap rate means how much money you're going to make on your asset. So you're going to make 6%. So there's a differential of 2% in there. Nobody's getting that right now. So let's proceed. I just wanted to make sure that people listening to the show understand that.
Yeah, and so like in that case, you can get a 20 plus IRR because this is the bet, but you couldn't get that in 2021 when everything had to go the exact same way it was going for you to like do decent,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's why I'm blaming everybody, really.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a good point. Blame it, right? That's a better point.
I'm not, I mean, and I'm not trying to be rude about it. It's just the reality of it because, and like I said, I have no dog in the fight, but I see these LPs complaining about the GPs, and I'm always trying to think like, okay, well, what's the other angle? And it's like you were part of the problem. I mean, of course, if you give a 25-year-old kid 1% acquisition fee on this deal, and you also are feeding into the market and all this stuff, like they're gonna do it, right? And nobody projected that the market would turn the way it did either. So that was like,
Well, there's a huge point on this that I keep putting out there that nobody really realizes. I've got video and audio of Powell, Chairman Powell, saying that we're in 2021 or 2021, we're not raising interest rates till 2025 or 26, right? And so any investor would say, well, General Powell, not General Powell, General Powell, I'm getting General Powell and Powell with the Feds mixed up. Powell with the Feds is saying we're not going to raise interest rates. We're not going to raise interest rates. So what would investors do?
exactly. So that's
Bank on what he said.
right. So that's why like everyone's to blame and also no one's to blame. I don't know.
I like that. I like that terminology. You get the best from it. Everybody's to blame and nobody's to blame.
Yeah, but the reason why it's frustrating to me is because personally, selfishly probably, I was I was frustrated that these guys were doing these deals when I had been doing it for 10 years before them, studying, thinking about it, wanting to do it. And then they're just like leapfrogging me, in a competitive sense. And now, whenever it's actually the time to be doing this, everybody's scared.
Agreed.
So
Agreed.
it's like,
So
come
when's
on,
the best
man.
time to buy multifamily?
It's right now. It really is
There you go.
right now.
It
It's
really
when,
is right now. Two
it's
years
when,
ago was horrible.
yeah, it's when
100%
everybody,
agree with that.
I mean, it's literally like if you call a broker right now and you say, "Hey, I'm looking for a seller that has to sell, that has debt coming due," they understand clearly what you're talking for, and they probably have that there. And you tell them, "I'm looking for a home run," and they're like, "All right, they're really just trying to qualify if you can pull it off or not." Whereas
Mhm.
if you told them that 3 years ago, they would just say, "Yeah, get in line."
Well, well, the 3 years ago, I would call brokers and they wouldn't even call me back.
Exactly.
They
So
wouldn't even call me back because they already had the deal sold. Once they put it on LoopNet or Crexy, it was already sold. And that was cheap,
yeah,
cheap.
cheap, so cheap. I mean, well, that's the crazy thing that we're getting this deal right now for 434 is like maybe you could have got it a little less than that, but like that was about as good as it gets. And we're getting that now. But also to the point of those brokers, I cannot reiterate enough to the listeners and to the people that want to do something and grind. Like now is the time to be calling these brokers and meeting them because when it does change, if you don't know them, they're not going to call you back either. But
Right,
you have an opportunity to get in front of them and get to know them now while their phones are not ringing. And that comes back to this, not this fly by night approach, but like, hey, I'm doing this call for what this is going to look like 10 years from now.
right, exactly. Three to 10 years is a huge difference in this industry. I agree with you wholeheartedly. Matt, listen, what is one of the biggest challenges you had to overcome in your career?
Man, aside
You
from
got to
real
pick
estate,
one.
yeah, well, it's easy for me. So I I did very well in real estate. Was making good money. I was a believer in the cannabis marijuana industry, and I was following it, and I was trying to be prudent. Like I did a lot of the right things. One of the things Warren Buffett says is find an industry that you believe in, that you can buy and you can look at it 20 years from now, right? And then find the best company in that industry. And I did that. And I invested personally $4 million of my own
Ooh.
money, which was which was close to my net worth. I had some properties, but they had debt on them, and that 4 million went to zero.
Oh. So that is the biggest challenge I've heard in this podcast. Wow.
Zero.
A friend of mine just told me 2 days ago. He goes, I should have invested with you. I'm like, why would you do? He goes, I invested in cannabis. And I'm like, So for the listeners, let's give some context. What do you buy when you buy into a marijuana company?
Well, it
There's
was,
no real hard asset. It's just you're buying into a company.
yeah, I mean, this is a long story, but I mean, this was a publicly traded company.
Okay.
Um,
So
they had
you were buying shares. Okay.
they had a $4 billion investment from a large company called Constellation Brands, who owns Corona, Modelo, all these alcohol brands and spirits. And I'm like, this company is going to be around. Like there's
Right.
a lot of these scam companies out there. This one will be around. And I read every single filing. I listened to every single earnings report. Like I did a lot of the right things. On the board of this company that I'm in was John Boehner. He was past Speaker of the House, the Prime Minister of Canada, Brian Mulroney. Like I'm like, these guys are legit. And it went to zero, man. Like
Oh, I can't believe that. You should have got out before that. Sorry about that. That's horrible. That is one of the worst negatives I've heard in a long period
it
of
was
time.
depressing, man. It was morally, mentally, it was
Yeah.
defeating, it was paralyzing. For someone that, I mean, I wasn't spending my money partying or buying fancy
No, you were
stuff.
investing.
I was investing, and that's another thing I've learned somewhat recently. I'm 34, and you go through college and you get out at 22, and you're like, you're told to like go work, go invest. You're not really told like how risky invest. Like most investments, from what I'm gathering, most of them go wrong. Like it is, like you just kind of think like investing is good. Like you invest, and whether that's in a stock or this or that, like at least you're not buying other things. But like most investments are way riskier than anybody realizes.
Well, yeah, I can agree with you to a point. The one thing I think is the most, how do I put this? Less risky and least risky invest is multifamily. I've been investing in housing, building, uh, single family houses, but when it comes to multifamily, depending on the sponsors, if they do the debt wrong, that can go bad. But other than that, multifamily doesn't, it always goes up in value. Right now it's going sideways, maybe a little bit down, but it always goes up in value in time.
I'm
Like you
with
said,
I'm
time
with
and location.
Yeah, I'm with you completely. I mean, I don't feel like that, and it's easy for me to pitch my own book, but I don't feel like that with my own deals, because if you know what to look out for and you're doing the right things, then yes, it is actually not that risky.
No.
But to what we're talking about, man, like what percentage of people that were doing webinars and raising money in 2021, 2022, 2020, like what percentage of those deals went bad? Like I guess 90.
That's a good question.
I mean,
That's a
it's over
very good question.
50.
It's not far off. I don't feel your number's that far off.
Right. So like in that sense, 90% of everybody who was investing in that time lost their
It
money.
was, but well, is the property worth less? Yes. The equity part of the deal is going to get smashed, but the banks don't lose. You
Oh
know what I
yeah.
mean? They might
Oh
lose
no,
a
you're
little
right.
bit. They might lose a portion.
Yeah.
So is it risky for what debt? That's basically that's what I'm trying to illustrate. I think multifamily is the safest and the best So we also do storage facilities. Storage facilities is a good bet too. But the interest rate with Powell saying what he said, we're not going to raise interest rates and raise it triple, almost double and then some. I mean, that was basically a lie that kind of caught a lot of people off guard. You know what
Yeah,
I
well,
mean?
this comes back to what you and I both talked about is timing, right? Because
Yeah,
the timing of that, the risk level based on the timing was there. Now the risk level now based on the timing is not there.
right. That's what I want people to understand. Exactly. Exactly. Hey, listen, things like sound, I'm sorry about your negative, but things are going pretty well for your businesses. Looking forward to the future. What would you say is the best way to create passive income? The best way.
I would say to add as much value for as much people as you possibly can and stay in touch and follow up and not just think it's going to be one deal. So you can,
Yeah, it's not gonna be one deal.
like, I invest in other people's deals, and I'm sure you are familiar or have heard of fund of funds.
Mhm.
Like,
I've got one actually.
yeah. So, like,
I love it.
yeah. So, hey, man, I'd love you to check out our deal. We signed it up 2 days ago. Um, But like a lot of people don't want to do a fund of funds because they want to be a GP, right? And it's like, man, you're just getting lost. Like, just look for opportunities. Have a fund of funds, do your own deals when you can, partner with people when you can, like find the right people, add value, and stop just trying to hoard everything to yourself. Like, when we do a fund of fund structure, we give away a 90-10 split on $1 million plus checks. So we're making 10%. We got our fees and everything, but like we're not stealing. Like, the fund of
So
funds can give their investors a 90-10 and they get a 80-20, which is what they would have got if they came to us directly. So I love
right.
that model because everybody wins. But I just
Yeah.
encourage you to like recognize that you get into the real estate industry and business to be an entrepreneur. And
Mhm.
when you just like go down one lane and you stay in one lane, you're basically just doing another job. Like, do multiple aspects of this business at all times. Be an entrepreneur.
Well, the what I love showing people is passive income. You know, people can invest in multifamily real estate, with our company and not do any work. They can be an LP part of a deal, not do any work, and get, like you said, up to 90% of the income. So you said the 10, 90, 10. I want people to understand the LPs get the 90%. The GPs, the guys that do all the work, get 10%. And I tell people that, and they're like, why? I'm like, that's how much we love our investors. That's literally how much we love our investors. And they don't wrap their brain around it. We show it. Do you have a hard time showing people sometimes? And they're like, I don't believe these returns because they've been hit with stocks their whole lives and they don't understand the cost segregation where you can save a huge amount on taxes.
Yeah.
I have a hard time people believing me. I'm like, talk to your accountant. Don't listen to me. And then
Yeah.
they talk to their accountant and they're like, yeah, they said if we were to do this deal, yeah, that's what we get. Okay.
Yeah. The cost seg's massive, man. And yes, on the back to the passive, like, trust me, I would love to just be a passive LP investor myself. That sounds amazing. But
Doesn't it? Now that you know about it, right? Don't I'm what we do here is we partner with people like you and let them do all the work, but I just want to be on the GP team to understand how the properties go on so I can talk to my investors. Does that
yeah,
make sense?
totally.
So mostly, and then, people that want to invest safely, don't I don't want to. I can say this today in multifamily, we really haven't even lost any money. In single family houses, I lost in 2008 and 9. I lost $6,000. I thought I was going to go crazy. I don't like losing. I hate losing. I've been very fortunate to have positive pretty much my whole life. And when I lost that one, I was like, and I tell people I lost 6,000 in 2008 or 9, and they're like, "That's all you lost?" I'm like, "Yeah, but I don't like losing."
Yeah.
They're like, "You should just shut up." Because
Yeah. Try 4 million, man.
try I wouldn't even know what to do after that. But it sounds like you bounced back and you're doing great, man. Good luck on everything. Wondering, wrapping up, what do you got planned for the next 6 to 12 months? What's the next thing for PR3?
We're working on a deal. We just signed it up 2 days ago. Love you to take a look at it just to even see what we do.
Let's get off camera. I definitely want to do that.
Yeah, but that's assuming the loan 4.34 fixed. So that's the immediate opportunity. I'm zoned in on that. We've got, call it 90 days to close it, but 30, 60 days to get the money together. And we also have 4 or 5 more offers on deals. And so my goal, I'm not trying to just do deals to do them, but now is the time to be aggressive. And if we're right, then when we look back in 5 years, 7 years, we're going to wish we would have bought more. Some people, but not me, because we're doing everything we possibly can, and we want to make them pencil and work now. So hyper focused on acquiring as many great opportunities in San Antonio and Austin area, Texas. Probably Austin will be more like Round Rock and some of the surrounding areas. We've got offers on a property in Round Rock right now. But want to come out of this as a big player, man. And
Sounds like you're going to.
I hope so.
Sounds like you're going to. Well, listen, well, do me a favor real quick, and thanks for sharing your insights. Appreciate your time on the podcast. If anybody want to get in touch with you, how would they do that?
I'm very easy, man. Matt Teifke at Gmail. TR3 Capital is our company. We're on all the social media channels. My cell phone number, 512-914-4806. And I'm here to help, man. Whatever I can do.
Sounds good, man. Thanks a lot for being on the show. Let's say goodbye to everybody. Then we'll, if you guys would love to talk to him, Matt seems pretty easy to get in contact with. Giving his cell phone on a podcast, a little dangerous, but hey, we'll see how that works out for you. Matt, thanks a lot for coming on. We do appreciate it.
Been doing it my whole life, man. I love it and appreciate you guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to Driven, the Unscripted Success Podcast. Want to share your story? Apply to be a guest at drivensuccesspodcast.com/guest.